The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, on Tuesday claimed that the days of Monday sit at home in the southeast of Nigeria are over. Coming from the head of an army, which presence and activities across the region have been considered more of a hindrance than help over the years, General Lagbaja's comments have been taken with considerable pessimism by many stakeholders in the southeast. Well, joining us now to have a conversation around this are two gentlemen, Arise News analyst Frank Tietie and Secretary Guild of Public Affairs Analyst of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter, Dr. Chikezie Obasi. Good to have both of you on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Mr. Tietie, let me start with you. What do you make of this statement by the Chief of Army Staff that the sit-at-home order in the southeast has ended?
Well, that resonates a lot of optimism, contrary to the initial position of pessimism. However, the Chief of Army Staff must realize that achieving peace and progress in the debacle regarding the IPOB and Eastern Security Network operations in the southeastern part of this country is not a matter of force alone. I must say that these are the best times for IPOB to embrace peace. And if the sit-at-home order it's no longer recording that adverse effect it has on the people and particularly in the entire region, it's as a result of the realization of the Nnamdi Kanu and his followers to the fact that it's not really working. It's hurting the people of southeastern Nigeria. In the history of separatist movements across the world, you don't find separatist leaders carrying out orders that are directed at targeting its own people and then actually punishing them. And that was what the Monday sit-at-home order has been. So the declaration already made by Nnamdi Kanu that it is no longer going to hold, but it's now going to be referred to as Economic Empowerment Day. It's a welcome development. But the Chief of Army Staff should not exacerbate the progress that is being recorded by the serious activities of the new leadership of the southeastern states like Governor Mba of Enugu State, and particularly the personality of Chief Emmanuel Enweanwu, who is actually piloting the activities of Ohaneze Ndigbo in the direction of realizing that there is a new president, different from the former president that showed a lot of intransigence in the manner he has detained continually Nnamdi Kanu, contrary to law and contrary to international law. So these are very good times to be talking about peace and the reduction in the activities of IPOB and Eastern Security Network, not necessarily as a result of superiority of the force that the Nigerian army wields in the region, but a time to realize that the Nnamdi Kanu's philosophy and ideology with regards to liberating the Southeast and its people would not work in this modern world. For a region that has gone through a conflict of civil war, it is not, this is not the solution. In fact, Nnamdi Kanu should be thinking of now having a life after prison, because there is a very strong likelihood that this government is going to listen to whatever grievances they have. But to think that we will continue to punish the people of Southeast in the manner that they have done with this Monday sit-at-home, you should know that it has a limit. It won't work. It's dying out naturally because the people are seriously discontented. There's a lot of suffering, and it's not working in any way as a way of promoting a better option to what the federal government of Nigeria can give to the people of the Southeast.
All right, then, Frank. Let me come to you, Dr. Obasi. Much ado about Simon Ekpa. He is one figure that has been quite polarizing in this situation. As we all know, he's based in Finland and has had major hands in this Monday sit-at-home order. And there have been calls for him to be reprimanded in whatever legal means can be that the Nigerian arms of the law can reach in Europe, in Finland. In your opinion, what can be done with him? How much influence does he have, regardless of the fact that the Chief of Army Staff has said that this Monday sit-at-home order is over.
Regarding the influence of Simon Ekpa on the southeastern people today, I can actually tell you that that influence is gradually waning down. The southeastern people have realized that what we are losing in a year is about 60 active days. In a year, if you actually take Monday sit-at-home alone. And then it came to climax with his 2 weeks declaration of sit-at-home. That fell on his face, and people actually realized that there is no way human beings actually will be thinking in that direction in this 21st century. And like the analyst rightly pointed out, the kinetic aspect of this sit-at-home, ending sit-at-home, has come to, if I should say, it's a success story, because in the last few months we could actually barely hear of the activities of those enforcing sit-at-home, in any part of Southeast. More recently, we are beginning to see that individuals are, they only closed their shop because they were afraid. But we are looking at it in the last few weeks that people are no longer listening to them. Like I said earlier, the 60 days will translate about 12 weeks if you divide the active week to be 5 days, and that should give you about 3 months in a year, and that which an average person in the Southeast or anybody observing sit-at-home would have lost. So it was a grievous adventure that the members of his autopilot actually agreed. And then we're beginning to see again that it was all about scam. It's all about people trying to raise funds for themselves. People are beginning to realize that the Monday sit-at-home was a means of what we will popularly say cash out, in balance. And then again, people are not listening to them. The marketers, the traders are beginning to feel the pinch, And then more coupled the fact that we have governors that have been trying their best to do the non-kinetic action to engage the communities, engage the traders, the market women, any other person you can think of, the professionals, and then even bring things that will actually make workers to come to work. People are beginning to come out. So I can actually say that the siege being led by on the southeastern hands by Autopilot and Simon Ekpa is gradually being disentangled, and then in the next couple of weeks I believe that every space in the southeast will be open. The usual lock of shops we see on Mondays are actually drastically reduced, and we see that in the next couple of weeks, like I said earlier, we'll see a better day in the southeast.
Now, Dr. Obasi, according to the Chief of Army Staff, the sit-at-home ended, due to heightened efforts of troops in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. But I'm wondering if this is enough, to quell IPOB's agitation. Are you worried that it might evolve possibly in another manner? Could it just be the calm before the storm?
Yeah, first of all, I must say that I don't want to believe that has entirely ended. No agitation has even ended in a kinetic mood. I want to believe again that the military has done a lot of work, the police security operatives. Now we are in for soft aspect of it. And what actually fueled this is the level of unemployment, disenchantment, and the level of deprivation, the populace got from the government. So I believe that having palpated the pulse of the masses, haven't felt and heard the voices of the masses, the new leaders in Southeast, let me take for example the Enugu State Governor, the new leaders in the Southeast are beginning to realize that it's time for them to begin to look at how to create employment, how to get more people to active work, because they say that idle minds is devil's workshop. Many of these people that actually went into this agitation, it was because of frustration, hardship, and difficulties. And we have seen all the crises. So I believe that I'm not expecting it to, rise up in another wave of, in another wave or in another form. That means we have not learned our lessons. But I am expecting it that going forward, the governors, the leaders of Southeast, the Ohanese and Dibu, should make a concerted effort towards developing the Southeast, towards taming down the unemployment and underemployment we have in the Southeast. I mean, we have a lot of youth here who are not doing things that you could say put food on their table on a daily basis. And again, cost of governance has to reduce. The ostentatious lifestyle of politicians has to stop so that people would understand that actually every other person is equal in the society. And they will have a sense of belonging. They will understand that even if things are difficult, not those leading us are making it worse for us. But more importantly, I think this will end on a note where if development comes up and people start getting their job.
All right, Dr. Obasi. Well, there's been that quest for Biafran liberation and referendum. But let's talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We know that he's still, he'd actually said that he's not going to beg for his freedom for the federal government for a number of reasons. And despite being cleared of his charges back in October of last year, he's still detained. Are you under the opinion this is a touchy subject, but is this a subject that this present administration will be dealing with soon, or is it something that they might just have to kick the can down the road, so to speak?
For many of us who are analysts, we have always believed that the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, his release and the quest for Biafra will end on a negotiating table. We've always believed that a government will come which will sit down and understand the reason for this agitation. These agitations were not there in 2010, it was not there in 2011, 2012, suddenly by 2017, we've gotten these heavy agitations. I believe that by the way IPOB is going, the way the Southeastern governors are going, every other person has to come on a platform where we understand, look, this is one nation. Let me tell some people who may not understand. As of 2012, Nnamdi Kanu demonstrated for one Nigeria. He demonstrated against Boko Haram activities in the Northeast. He wanted a better Nigeria. Even when they were talking, he was talking with the governors before his incarceration in I think that should be 2017. He told them plainly that, I mean, they should be able to talk about the better way for Southeast. He told them that he needed having a restructured Nigeria. Of course, we know that the way forward is to take back the society, give back the society to the populace. So if you take a look at his understanding, if you take a look at the spirit behind the agitation, it's all geared towards making Nigeria better. It's all geared towards making the system, better for the younger generations. So I believe that if Nnamdi Kanu is released today, because I believe that if there is peace restored in the Southeast and there's good discussion on the table, like he has converted, he has asked his followers to look at Monday as Empowerment Day. If people begin to key into this idea, they'll understand that, look, it's not actually asking that Nigeria be balkanized. It's actually that we move forward. And government sees into that ideology. I mean, you will be released and there will be peace everywhere.
Now, another issue that the Chief of Army Staff touched on was the establishment of Special Forces Unit to tackle criminality across the country. But I'm wondering how we can, how the activities of the Special Forces can be monitored so that they do not abuse their mandates like what happened with SARS.
The issue of Special Forces, sometimes I will begin to wonder what they are creating out of security operatives. Let's take a look at it. The security operative, first of all, you have to maintain peace. So in the military you have special squad, in the police you have special squad. I mean, why creating another special? I think it's creating the multiple layers of bureaucracy and which will aid corruption. I believe train the security operative in their professional way. Their job is to maintain security. You don't need to create multiple layers of security men in order to maintain security in the same system. But I think, again, if you take a look at what happened and why you saw a lot of insurgents in the Southeast, you begin to wonder the activities of security men. Actually, they worsened the situation. At a point, it became the issue of unknown gunmen, killing the security operatives, I mean the police, the activities on the way, the end-SARS protests, we saw what happened, how it actually, led to violent demonstration across the Federation and wanton destruction of lives and property. So I think what the security men should do is to act professionally. I think within them, they have a lot of, special squad. They have a lot of things they've done. Why don't they begin to get, train in a professional way so that they can combat insecurity, they can have a good information gathering. If you come to the Southeast, for example, just like you have in the Northeast, the level of insurgents is being in the Northeast was reduced because you had JTF, civilian JTF, you know, having a joint military task force, combining the hunters and the community people. Here in the Southeast today, you see a whole lot of neighborhood watch doing good work, you know, to combat this unknown gunmen and insecurity in the Southeast. So I think what they needed to do is to encourage this community participation. They need to gather more information. They need to get the people involved. I mean, if you begin to look at community policing, like we said, it's not being a special force. Multiplicate and strengthen your neighborhood watch, the vigilante group, just like you have in Amotekun. I mean, they will get a lot of information and nip this insecurity in the bud. That's the one you know, the way I think the military should go, or security operatives. But on the side of government, they should begin to look at how do we create employment rates, how do we begin to grow our GDP such that it goes to twice the rate of our annual, you know, population growth rate, so that we can actually mitigate the unemployment and underemployment, and we can actually bridge, you know, the excesses we have. Because you see, most of the people that engage in these nefarious activities are children and adults between the ages of 18 and 30-something, maybe 35, 36. Majority of them, if you take a look at them, they have nothing, you know, doing. That's why they could actually go into, you know, into become a willing tool. So I feel instead of spending money to create multiple layers in the security of, you know, of the nation, let them be professionally trained the way they are trained today, but let them use that fund to create industries, to do infrastructure, and enable the private sector to come in and create employment. That's the way I look at it.
Well, Dr. Chikeze Obasi, it was very good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us for this discussion.